So, you're joining me on a mini 2-day photography adventure, doing some landscape photography, and I've come out with my van and I'm in Essex, and you join me here to start with at the Heybridge Basin. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel then, and today, as I just mentioned, I'm in Essex and I'm over at Heybridge Basin, and I'm having a look at these beach huts which are kind of photographed quite a lot, and I thought I'd come and give it a go. The only trouble is, the problem that I'm facing is that the time available to me means that the tide is out. The tide is never really up as high as it needs to be to get kind of like a fine art shot. So I'm just dealing with trying to come up with some kind of ideas to photograph these beach huts when the tide is out. Let me show you what I mean. So there you go, that's the scene I'm facing at the moment. The problem is that the foreground and the areas underneath the huts, and if you can call it a beach, out to the front of the huts, is quite messy. So I'm just playing around with some ideas to try and get this photograph. There's always the option of coming back another time, but I'm down here and now, so I'm going to give it a go. The only problem is that it was high tide about 2 hours ago, and high tide again is tonight at about, well, just before midnight, and the only real difference between high tide and low tide is about 6 centimetres today and tomorrow. So I haven't really got the option of trying again tomorrow, because the difference in height between the low tide and high tide isn't going to make any difference at all, really. So I think I've got probably the best thing I can come up with now, and that's it's going to be a square crop in black and white, or that's, I'm shooting in RAW, so I'm going to change it into black and white later on in Lightroom. It's a bit of a shame, because the nice kind of pastel muted tones of the beach huts would have been quite nice to capture. I can always have a play around later, see what I can make of it in Lightroom. Okay, so I think I'm done here. I've done a couple of bracketed shots, thinking about square crop, thinking about black and white, and I've also done a long exposure with my Lee 10 stopper. So I'm going to pack up here, walk back around the Heybridge Basin, back to where I parked the van, and on the way over I did clock a couple of possible shots, so I might have another look at those on the way back and see what they're like. But yeah, like I said, choices of shot here are specifically fine art style are a little bit limited, because the tide is out, and I really think the tide needs to be in, and the beach and the foreground hidden, to be able to get that fine art feel to it. But that's been done plenty of times before, and I've never been here, so I thought I'd have a go at it, given the situation that I've got myself here. So here's the pictures. Okay, so I just shot this little picture of this little sailing boat kind of beached in an outflow gully in the sand, and all the other boats are kind of straight and true where they've beached on the sand, but this little sailing boat was all kind of lopsided in this gully. So I thought that was quite an interesting photo, so I've taken that one. and didn't use a tripod or anything. That's just handheld from this little narrow footpath, and I'll process that and put it up for you to see now. Okay, so I'm going to try this now. I'm over at Cudmore Grove Country Park on the eastern side of Mersey Island, and look at all these bits of wood. Probably some kind of tidal protecting kind of feature on the beach here. So they're kind of groynes, I suppose, but a different kind of style of groyne. So anyway, I'm walking along the beach, just trying to think about how to photograph these with the tide out. The tide is still out. So I've just been having a look around to see how I can tackle this. And up at the far end here, looks possibly like the most promising way of looking at it. So let's go take a look. No, okay, I couldn't get that one to work. And the problem is, it's kind of a bit like shooting trees in a woods or a forest. You just got too many posts that are overlapping themselves. So it's not a clear kind of point of view, really. So it's just too much of a complicated, confusing picture. So I'm gonna go back and have a look at this one. The first few posts seem a bit more spaced apart. So I'm gonna go and try that one. Well, this one's a bit of a challenge, I've got to be honest. So I've had a bit of a rethink. I've been back to the van, changed shoes, I've got my wellies on now, dumped the camera bag off, just bought the essentials. So got the 24 to 105, got my 10 stopper and the filter holder. And I think I need to walk out into the mud and the wet sand and get out as far as I can, just to see if I can get the last few posts, which are, or do seem to be, in the water. So if I can get some kind of fine art feel to that kind of picture, then I'll be happy. But as it stands at the moment, the foreground, where most of the posts are, it's just too busy. I'm just not happy with what I was going to shoot. So I'm going to go and get kind of more of a minimalist kind of photograph. So let's see what we can get on this one. Well, I'm in absolute disbelief. I've literally been gone for maybe 10 minutes. I was here 10 minutes ago. Just walked back to the van to put my wellies on, and like I say, just get rid of the camera so I'm travelling a bit lighter down to the beach. And the tide has come in actually quite a lot. I can't believe how much it's come in. Just goes to show how flat the sand must be around here. Okay, so well, I still need to get out on the mud. It's just a question of where now, because where I was going to go, which was over there to those posts there, that's obviously well underwater now. So I need to rethink this yet again. So let's have a think where I can go. Okay, so the tide is coming in now. It's probably moved in probably about 2 meters in the last couple of minutes. I've set up my shot. I think I'm going to go for this. So I'm just looking at these few posts here. So from there to there, so the small one there to that one, I'm stopping the frame there, and I'm stopping the frame there on the left hand side. So just focusing on those few posts. So that kind of thing. I've already got the 10 stopper on in preparation. So the little ripples in the water, I want that to smooth out. So I'm just waiting for the water to come in and cover this foreground, and hopefully I'll get the shot and make my way back before I end up in water too. Right, so the water is now up to the tripod, and I've just started taking photos of this little scene. Currently aiming for an exposure of about 25 seconds, just to try and smooth out the water. Just want the water to get a little bit deeper, because at the moment I'm seeing all the stones still underneath, just on the sand, just beneath the tripod, leading up to the groins. So just going to stay here for a little bit longer, and hopefully the water will get a little bit deeper. Glad I went back for my wellies. Good, success. I think I'm happy with that. Time to get back onto the sand, I think. I think I've got a pretty good shot. I've shot in 4:3 ratio, or that's what I'm intending to do. I've taken a couple of shots around it, 20 seconds, 25 seconds and 30 seconds at f11, just playing around with the ISO as well, up to about 250, just to try and get the exposure right, just make sure I'm not blowing out any highlights in the sky, but also keeping the detail and the shadows in the groin. So that's it. Let me put the picture up for you to see now. So I think that's it for today. Got a few shots in the can to have a play around with, and you'll have already seen the results of those. So I'm gonna head back to the van, go and find a park up to sleep overnight, and I'll be carrying on my Essex adventure tomorrow. So join me next time to see where that takes me. Thanks for watching, bye for now.